Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. Today we have a new knife from Cold Steel that I wanted to check out, and this is it was an alert to me. This was kind of a surprise to me because Cold Steel is not really known too much for traditional style knives, but they seem to have recently come up with this new line of trappers, and so I decided to pick one up. So this is a full-size trapper in blue bone. And when I did purchase this, I didn't expect it to actually come in this, clamshell style package. Because of course, most pocket knives, when you buy them, they come generally in boxes. But so we can definitely tell this knife was made for, retail sale, given that it has the hang tags and everything on here. But it also gives us a chance to see how Cold Steel is marketing these knives. So this is their trapper, 2 blades, traditional styling, everyday carry markings on there, and the new Cold Steel logo. And on the rear, we can see we have the 2 different blade types with 8CR13 steel, polished bolsters, and we have some information down here. And I am very certain that these knives are made in China. It doesn't say it on the packaging, though. But yeah, so the Cold Steel is kind of somewhat of a new entrance to having these kind of traditional folders. They have had some in the past, and I've seen those, but those were generally higher end. A lot of times they had carbon fiber, S35 VN, whereas this is something very much more at the budget end. So I just kind of wanted to open it up on camera and take a first look at it with you guys. So let's just open up the package and see what we got here. The Cold Steel Trapper. I'm kind of curious to see how the fit and finish is on these knives. Okay, there we go. So we'll set the packaging aside, put the ProTech runt away, and this is the Cold Steel Trapper. And so this is not the mini trapper, this is their full-size variant of the knife. So I just kind of wanted to take a close look at it, and so we will check that out. All right, so we'll take a closer look at our Cold Steel Trapper right here. So first thing right out of the package that really impresses me is just how shiny everything is. Of course, it said right on the package it's polished, but the blue bone covers, you can see, are very nice and shiny. They are very smooth to the touch, so that's kind of impressive. Same with the bolsters. Those are polished for sure, so near mirror polish on that. You can see our 2 blades in there. We have a clip point and the spay blade, and back spacers right here. And you can just see, any minimal gapping that might be there. So you can take a close look. Transitions here. There's a little bit of a raised in the transition on this side, and this side seems to be pretty smooth. On the top, where the bolster meets, that's smooth transitions on both sides. Which kind of falls in line. This is a budget knife, so the price of this knife comes in under $30. And so what we're getting for that price, of course, are the 8CR13 blades. And so we can see this blade right here, again, nicely polished, very shiny. It's almost a mirror right there, kind of nice. Markings on here, we have the Cold Steel logo, and of course the 8CR13 MOV China marking, again, made in China. So that is our clip point blade, and the pull on, it's really not that hard at all. There are nail nicks in there, but I think, let me see if I can just pinch it open. Maybe not the clip point, but that's easy to open. So really no issues there. There's no half stop. So it's just one long smooth pull. And the spay blade, there we go. Again, nice and shiny. Looks good. No play side to side, which is nice and tight. And there are no markings at all on the spay blade at all. So the only markings are going to be on your clip point blade, which also has no play side to side. So I'm testing the sharpness. They should be fairly sharp out of the package. I was just playing with it a minute ago. So yeah, pretty impressive there. Let's test out the second blade. Oh yeah. No issues with sharpness right out of the package, and of course I would not expect that. But being a 2-bladed trapper, this is a fairly common pattern on the market. Even in the budget end, you can get a lot of inexpensive trappers out there. So one of the line of trappers I actually already own quite a few of are these ones right here. These are from Kissing Crane, and you can see the shield on that right there. These are imported from China. They come in a lot of different themes and colors and variations, but check out the side to side here. Again, the knives look very, very similar in overall pattern because they are patterned off the exact same style of knife. You know, there's maybe slight differences in the bolster size. We can check out the thickness side to side, super comparable. I mean, the cold steel looks a little bit wider in the bolsters. Comparing the blades, let's just put these side to side real quick. And again, I'm expecting them to look pretty much the same, as you can tell. Yeah, so we have a clip point, a spade blade. Again, very common pattern, and cold steel is just kind of dipping their toes in this market. I think Kissing Crane and on a more common level, Rough Rider knives, they have a lot of really inexpensive slip joints that they release, all again from China. So cold steel is kind of entering a crowded market in this particular category of knives. So I'm kind of curious how far they're going to dip into it, because I think they have this trapper, a mini trapper, maybe a Stockman as well, pattern knife. And so this is our Kissing Crane, very similar pull on these knives. Yeah, very similar amount of pull. One knife that I have that's a US made trapper, this one right here is my Whedon Company knife. So I think these were made on the old, I forget the name of the company, Shatton Morgan Cutlery equipment. And so we have a US producer coming back into the inexpensive slip joint market. So putting these guys side by side, we can see the same pattern right there. And again, very, very subtle, very slight differences between these knives. I mean, again, you can see in the bolsters, differences in size. Both of these are bone. Look at the thickness comparison there. And now the Whedon Company, it's overall, in my opinion, just looking at it, it looks a little thicker, like in the blade stock, as well as the swell in the handle on the covers, on the bone covers. And that's really just probably some variance in pattern style. So both these knives have the brass liners. And from what I can see, it looks like the cold steel has steel liners. But everything looks super smooth. So let's open up the blades. Still a smooth transition on the back spring. Halfway point right there. Again, there's no half stop, but checking out both blades. Yeah, smooth transitions on the back spring when the knife is open. Is there any light bleed coming in from the back? Let's just check out there. So it looks like it's all tight in the back of the knife. So that's good. Cleanliness inside the handle. It's kind of hard to see without the light directly on it, but it does look fairly clean inside the knife, which is always a good sign of quality for a slip joint. So what I do like about the knife, again, and actually all three of these knives on the table, what I really do like is that the pull on the blades is not super intense. I've had some slip joints over the years that are super, super hard to open. And especially if your hands are sweaty or wet, like you cannot open the knife safely without having risk that spring closing on you. But this is easy to open, which is nice because if you're using a slip joint knife correctly, the blade won't close shut on you. You just got to make sure you're putting pressure in the correct direction when you're cutting with a slip joint. And as long as you remember that, they're perfectly safe. So overall, you know, for the price, this really isn't bad. If you're a cold steel fan, I think you're going to like these knives. If you're a traditional fan, I think you're going to like them too. I think they're very comparable with the Kissing Crane Chinese-made knives. And in fact, this is just as solid as this American-made Whedon Company knife. So what I don't have on the table are any trappers from Rough Rider or from Great Eastern Cutlery, another US-made brand, just not for comparison. What I do have, though, not a double-bladed trapper, but this trapper right here is from Case. And again, very similar size. This one is meant to be just a single bolster, single bladed, but the pull on this one's super nice as well. And so we'll do a size comparison here. So let's put these guys to the side. Here we go. And again, very comparable. Different type of knife though, for sure. I mean, size lengthwise, sure, it's similar, but what we have here is a single bladed trapper. And before we're done, I will say the weight of this knife is 3.36 ounces when I weighed it. And we can check out the length of the knife. Being a full-size trapper, you may already be familiar with the dimensions of these knives, but if not, then take a quick look here. Our blade length is coming in a smidge over 3 inches, and if you include this this part of the blade right here, it's more like 3.5, 3.25, 3.5, and the overall length about 7.5 inches. So these are full-size knives. So definitely a full-size trapper. The mini trappers tend to be a little smaller, but not quite as useful for me. If I'm going to carry a knife, I do want a slightly larger blade, especially if I'm carrying a 2-bladed trapper. That's what I'm using them for. But I do like to collect these type of knives too. They just look really nice. Sometimes the bone handles, sometimes the micarta handles are just really handsome and look really nice to collect. So let me know what your thoughts are on the Cold Steel trapper. Are they making a good step in the right direction with these traditional style knives, or should they stick to the more, tactical that they've been doing since the beginning of time? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Hope you all have a nice day, everyone. See ya.